Did you know that both of these films starring Mel Gibson have huge movie mistakes that you didn't know existed? And after I point them out to you, let's just say these films will never be the same, period. Anyways, let's get this video started with number 10 being the original 2001 Fast and the Furious starring Vin Diesel and Paul Walker. Now, in particular, the scene which most people missed this huge movie mistake was the scene where both Jesse and Johnny Tran are at the races. They're racing for pink slips. But if you didn't notice, something doesn't feel quite right if you really pay attention to the clothing that Johnny Tran is wearing. Here, take a look.
Who are you racing?
Okay, moving on to number 9. This is the 1995 epic historical war drama film directed and starring Mel Gibson. Now, the huge movie mistake that you all missed in this film is right after Mel Gibson's motivational speech where he's talking to his soldiers and they're about to fight the opposing enemies, when you see something quite out of place in the background in this scene. Here, take a look. All right, and boom, moving on to number 8. This is the 1984 musical film Breakin 2, Electric Boogaloo. Now, this is a lesser known film, but this is a movie mistake that I just think is hilarious. In particular, there's a scene where one of the characters in this movie is running away from these construction workers and he falls down some stairs and the stunt double looks nothing like the actor playing this character. Here, take a look and have a great laugh. Okay, now that was hilarious. Okay, moving on to number 7. This is the 2000 epic historical war drama film directed by Ridley Scott, starring Russell Crowe. And that movie is Gladiator. Now, this film had 3 movie mistakes, and I'm going to show them to you now. And let me know what you think. Here, take a look.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Drop your weapons.
All right, now moving on to number 6. This is the 1982 action film directed by Ted Kotcheff, starring Sylvester Stallone. This is definitely one of my favorite Stallone films of all time, and that film is Rambo: First Blood. Now, after pointing this movie mistake out to you, you won't be able to look at this scene the same, where John Rambo and Sheriff Will Teasel are parting ways, and something in the reflection of the car window is definitely not meant to be there. Here, take a look.
This ride helped you out.
Okay, moving on to number 5. This is the 1969 film directed by John Schlesinger, the West End thriller film starring John Voight and Dustin Hoffman, and that film is definitely one of my favorite films of all time, Midnight Cowboy. Now, I love this movie, but this is a movie mistake that they actually left in the movie. The scene where Dustin Hoffman and John Voight are walking down the street talking, when a car almost hits them and Dustin Hoffman tells the driver of the car that we're walking here, but you all know this scene, you all know this movie, but that wasn't meant to be in this movie. But here, take a look at that scene.
Hey, I'm walking here. I'm walking here. Up yours, you son of a bitch. You don't talk to me that way. Get out of here.
Okay, now moving on to number 4. This is definitely one of my favorite action films of all time, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Mark L. Lester. and this film is Commando. Now, this movie mistake, I don't know if they were just being lazy or they didn't notice, but the scene I'm talking about is the scene where Arnold Schwarzenegger drops Sully off the cliff and he drives off in the same Porsche that was destroyed by Arnold Schwarzenegger. And if you have a look at it, when he drives off, there's nothing wrong with the car. But here, take a look at that scene.
I let him go.
All right, now moving on to number 3. This is the epic crime drama film from 1983, directed by Taylor Hackford. This is definitely one of my favorite films of all time, and that film is Blood In, Blood Out. What a great movie. And I don't think anyone has ever spoken about this movie mistake, but I noticed it because I've seen this film so many times, and the scene I'm talking about in particular is the scene where the kid overdoses on drugs and the mother is holding him and he's supposed to be dead. But just take a look at that scene, and I don't know why they left it in there, but yeah, now that you see it, you can't unsee it. Here, take a look. All right, now moving on to number 2. Number 2 is the 1981 action classic post-apocalyptic film directed by the Australian George Miller. This is an Aussie classic, an Aussie staple, and this film is Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. Now, this is a movie mistake that no one else talks about, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, imagine a almost perfect film, but you notice a foot in one of the scenes, and this foot isn't supposed to be there. Here, take a look. All right, and now on to number 1. Now, this film is definitely one of my favorite films of all time. This is the crime drama film starring Edward Norton and Edward Furlong, directed by Tony Kaye. And this film needs no introduction, and that film is American History X. Now, if you haven't seen this film, I don't recommend you watch the reveal for this movie mistake, because it's at the climax of the end of this movie. Now, if you haven't seen this film, skip past this segment of the video. But the scene I'm talking about is at the end of the movie, Danny Vineyard gets shot and killed in the toilets of his school by another peer of his. But if you look at this scene closely, before he gets shot, he throws the paper out of his hand, and then when it pans to a close-up shot of Danny Vineyard passing away, you see him holding that same paper in his hand. Now, if you don't pay close attention to this scene here and what I'm saying, then you would have definitely missed this movie mistake. But here, take a look. Wraps it up for my top 10 movie mistakes that you probably all missed. Thank you all for watching. I'm Mike Star. If you've liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below with any questions. Now, I have most of these movies on 4K and Blu-ray, but if you want to pick up any of these movies on 4K or Blu-ray, check out my previous video, because if you haven't checked out my previous video, I do an in-depth review of the cheapest and best websites to buy physical media from, so you definitely want to check out my previous video. I'll put a link in the description to where you can watch it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. A great video for all movie collectors out there. But I'm out of everyone. I'll catch you all on the next video. But until then, have a good night.